What's good? It's Fever. Is ArcheAge pay to win? That's the question, and frankly, I'm getting sick of it. A quick Google search or a quick YouTube search will pull up tons of people exclaiming that yes, it is pay to win. And some of those players haven't even spent time in the game. It's absolutely nuts. When in fact, ArcheAge has one of the better free-to-play monetization structures out there with only one real gray area, being buying in-game currency. Of course, that's not the issue you hear about. You hear about patron status and labor potions, but the reason these aren't factors in the discussion is that both of these can be purchased with in-game gold by a player paying nothing to play ArcheAge, and they should be. The advantage in paying to play is saving that gold to obtain those potions or patron status in the first place, or selling those items or items like it found in the cash shop for in-game gold. So is buying gold in a game pay to win? That's the real question, and honestly, no. Now, I'm a bit biased because I believe that every game should offer an official method of obtaining in-game currency, as it's going to happen anyway from gold-selling websites and hackers. It's also a fantastic tool to allow players to catch up to players who have more time to sink into games than them, and in some forms of gaming, especially things like raiding, it can be a necessity to actually participate. For example, when I played WildStar, after raids I didn't have time to farm gold, I didn't have time to obtain the rune fragments and all the customization things that were required to raid, and if I couldn't convert cred, I wasn't able to raid. And an insider tip is if you ever see gold spam and think, who's stupid enough to buy gold? It's so easy to make. Hardcore competitive players commonly buy gold. So, that probably won't convince you, but let's think about what you're actually buying when you purchase currency, and let's assume good game design, because with bad design you could purchase an item that would bypass or trivialize content. If the best weapon is available in the cash shop, why would you need to raid for an inferior weapon? But that isn't an issue with pay to win, that's a cash shop design issue, since if I could sell it to a player, then someone without spending real life money can bypass that exact same content. You can see how that can muddy up your view on the cash shop, and I would recommend that when looking at if a game is pay to win, if the same thing can be said for a player not spending money as a player who is spending money, then it isn't a pay to win issue, but a design issue. But luckily for ArcheAge, that's not the case. There really isn't any item that could affect balance exclusively to paying players. But let's look at games in general and the ability to buy currency, as that's what we're trying to answer here. So let's say you're playing an MMO and I told you to obtain 100 gold. You probably would spend time grinding mobs, maybe mining a little bit, running some dailies, maybe playing the auction house a bit, none of which is competitive. Agreed? So if I purchase that 100 gold, it doesn't really give me a competitive edge. All it is doing is allowing me to save that 5 hours it would have taken to farm that 100 gold without having to actually engage in very, honestly, boring gameplay. Now, I understand that some players feel that in order for games to be fair for everybody, outside influences should be minimized. You should progress in a game in the actual game, but it's never been fair. Some players can devote 2 hours a day, and some players can devote 12 hours a day due to those exact same outside factors we're trying to minimize. And as I've grown up and gotten a girl and a job and a house that requires maintenance, a couple dogs, a gym habit, a life outside of video games, I cannot possibly give a game the time that, well, I could have a decade ago, and that in itself is an unfair advantage. And this happens as players grow up. It's not just restricted to me, people just have less time to spend in a game. A game isn't any more fair if only jobless singles can be competitive. Now that's a little harsh, but it's true. And one last example or comparison before I close out, League of Legends. If we ignore the rune page, I don't think I've ever heard somebody say that the way you obtain heroes is pay to win. Yet it's the exact same thing as buying an in-game currency. I could unlock a hero with the same 5 hours of drudgery playing a hero that I don't want to earn the one that I do want to play, or I could spend a little bit of money and unlock it straight away. Literally choosing what resource, time, or money I want to spend on a game in order to, 1, support the game, and 2, to play it and not feel hamstrung by the time requirements I cannot meet. Now, being able to buy in-game currency is a gray area, and to be honest, it polarizes people. You either think that it's pay to win or it's not, but I honestly feel that this is a very important issue, not even just for ArcheAge, but for most of gaming, as the box price and the subscription model are being thrown out as free-to-play is becoming more popular, and our views on what is acceptable in terms of monetization is very important in shaping what we can consider fair in the future, and people are so quick to say a game is pay-to-win, but if buying currency is pay-to-win, then so is World of Warcraft, EVE, WildStar, League of Legends, and I guess ArcheAge as well. So, how badly do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments. I'll respond to people that make a real argument, and I guess until next time, this is Fever. Peace.